If you're over 50 and you've noticed that your body doesn't respond the way it used to, maybe mornings feel inconsistent, maybe you're starting to avoid intimacy not because you don't want it, but because you're worried about letting someone down, I need you to hear this. You're not broken. I'm Dr. Ava Thompson, and in my years of clinical practice, I've sat across from thousands of men who came in feeling exactly the way you might be feeling right now: confused, sometimes embarrassed, wondering if this is just how life is going to be from now on. And what I've learned is that this isn't about masculinity or willpower. It's about three specific systems in your body that have quietly shifted with age. And today, I'm going to show you the 4 natural remedies that are helping men restore their confidence without medications or constant doctor visits. But here's what most men don't realize. These remedies only work if you avoid 2 critical mistakes that sabotage results in the first 2 weeks. I've seen men quit right before their body was about to turn the corner, simply because no one told them what to expect or how long real biological rebuilding actually takes. So if you've been searching for something sustainable, something that addresses circulation, nerve health, and inflammation all at once, stay with me for the next few minutes. Because what I'm about to share isn't a quick fix. It's a system. And it works when you understand exactly how your body is changing and what it needs to rebuild. Your vitality, your confidence, your ability to show up fully, it all starts right here. If this is happening to you after 50, I want you to know something right away. You are not alone. In my years of clinical practice, I've sat across from thousands of men who came in feeling confused, sometimes embarrassed because their desire was still there, completely intact, but their body's response had changed. And what troubles them most isn't even the physical shift. It's the silence around it, the worry they carry alone, the fear that something fundamental has been lost. But here's what I tell every single one of them, and what I need you to hear today. This is not about willpower. This is not a failure of masculinity. What's happening is physiological. It's a biological shift that comes with aging, and once you understand the actual mechanisms at work, you can start supporting your body in ways that make a real difference. So let me walk you through this the same way I would if you were sitting in my office right now, because what I'm about to share isn't just theory. It's what I've seen work for men who thought they'd tried everything. Now, when most men hear it's just aging, they assume that means inevitable decline. Game over, nothing to be done. But that's an oversimplification, and honestly, it's not even accurate. Yes, aging triggers certain changes in your body, that's undeniable. But those changes aren't random, and they're not irreversible. They're specific, they're measurable, and many of them are modifiable if you know what you're addressing. Let me break down what's actually happening. As you age, your body produces less nitric oxide. That's the molecule that signals your blood vessels to relax and allow blood flow. Your nerve signaling slows down slightly, and there's something else that often goes unnoticed: chronic, low-grade inflammation. Not the kind that makes you feel sick, but the kind that quietly interferes with circulation, with nerve communication, with tissue recovery. So when someone says just aging, what they're really describing is reduced nitric oxide production, slower nerve response, and inflammatory load. Those are the real culprits. And the important thing, the empowering thing, is that you can address each one of these systems. You can support them. Decline is not inevitable if you focus on what's actually modifiable. But before we get into the biology, I need to acknowledge something that most medical conversations skip right over, and it's this. The emotional cost of these changes often hurts more than the physical ones. I had a patient, a man in his early 60s, married for 30 years, deeply in love with his wife. He came to me not because he'd lost desire, but because he'd started avoiding intimacy altogether. Not because he didn't want it, because he was terrified of the moment his body wouldn't cooperate. And that fear, over time, had created distance he never intended. He'd built a pattern of avoidance, and it was affecting his relationship, his confidence, his sense of self. And this is what I see so often: men waiting too long to address the issue, hoping it will resolve on its own, until the avoidance patterns become harder to break than the physical challenge itself. So if this resonates with you, if you've been making excuses or creating distance, I want you to hear this. Address it now. Not because there's something wrong with you, but because you deserve to feel capable and confident in your body again. Now, here's something I've noticed over the last few years, and it's a shift I deeply respect. More and more older men are turning away from the idea of constant medication dependence and toward natural, sustainable approaches. They're not looking for a pill they have to take every single time. They want daily habits that support their body over the long term. They want to rebuild their baseline, not just manufacture a response on demand. And that makes sense to me, because what we're really talking about here is vitality, not just performance in one specific area, but overall circulation, energy, confidence, the ability to show up fully in your life and your relationships. That's not something you get from short-term performance pressure. That comes from supporting your body's systems day after day, letting them rebuild gradually. So let's talk about what actually controls function in the aging body, because once you see this clearly, everything else starts to make sense. Function, whether we're talking about physical response, stamina, or confidence, is not controlled by a single switch. It's not just about blood flow, and it's not just about hormones. It's a systems issue. There are three primary systems that matter most here: blood flow, nerve signaling, and recovery. And here's the critical part. If even one of these systems is weak, your results become inconsistent. You might have good days and frustrating days, and you won't know why. So the men who try to chase one magic solution, one supplement, one exercise, one dietary change, often end up disappointed. Not because those things don't help, but because they're only addressing part of the equation. You need all three systems working together: circulation, nerves, recovery. That's the foundation. And the first system most men overlook? Circulation, specifically nitric oxide production. Let me explain this as simply as I can because it's not complicated once you see it. Nitric oxide is a molecule your body produces naturally. It signals your blood vessels to relax and dilate, which allows blood to flow more freely. When you were younger, your body was very good at this. Your endothelial cells, the cells lining your blood vessels, were responsive, flexible, efficient. But after 50, nitric oxide production drops. Your endothelial cells become less responsive. Your vessels stiffen slightly. And the result is slower, less efficient blood flow. Think of it like this. Imagine a garden hose that's been out in the sun for years. It's still functional, but it's not as flexible as it used to be. It doesn't expand as easily when water flows through it. That's what's happening to your blood vessels. They're still working, but they need more support to function at the level you're used to. And this is why one particular remedy has been trending so strongly among men looking for natural support. We'll get to that in just a moment, but first I need to tell you about the second factor sabotaging your results, and most men don't even know it's there: inflammation, the silent saboteur. Now, I'm not talking about the kind of inflammation you feel, swollen joints, obvious pain. I'm talking about chronic, low-grade inflammation that you don't notice day to day, but that quietly interferes with everything your body is trying to do. It blocks efficient blood flow. It interferes with nerve signaling. It slows tissue recovery. And many older men who consider themselves healthy, who exercise, who eat reasonably well, still carry this inflammatory load without realizing it. Why does this matter for function? Because inflammation essentially puts static in the system. Even if your nitric oxide levels improve, even if your circulation gets better, if inflammation is still present, your body can't use those improvements efficiently. It's like trying to have a conversation in a noisy room. The message is there, but it's harder to receive clearly. So addressing inflammation isn't optional, it's foundational. And we'll talk about exactly how to do that in a way that's simple and sustainable. But there's one more piece of this puzzle, and it's a hidden nutrient gap that worsens significantly with age. Your body's ability to absorb nutrients declines as you get older. At the same time, your nutritional needs often increase. So you end up with a widening gap. Your body needs more, but it's getting less. And one of the most common deficiencies I see in men over 60 is magnesium. Magnesium supports nerve signaling. It helps with muscle relaxation, including the smooth muscle in your blood vessels. It improves sleep quality, which directly impacts next-day function. And yet, most men are walking around significantly deficient without ever knowing it, because the symptoms are subtle: fatigue, restless sleep, inconsistent response. The fix isn't a generic multivitamin. Those often contain forms of magnesium that your body doesn't absorb well. You need bioavailable forms: magnesium glycinate, magnesium taurate, taken consistently, usually in the evening to support both relaxation and overnight recovery. So now you see the landscape: blood flow, inflammation, nutrient gaps. These are the three foundational systems that determine whether your body can respond the way you want it to. And the good news, the truly empowering part, is that there are four simple, natural remedies men are using right now to support all three of these systems. Not pharmaceuticals, not expensive treatments, just daily habits that rebuild your baseline over time. So let me walk you through each one, starting with the remedy that addresses circulation directly. But here's what most men don't realize: these remedies only work if you avoid two critical mistakes that sabotage results in the first 2 weeks. I've seen men quit right before their body was about to turn the corner, simply because no one told them what to expect or how long real biological rebuilding actually takes. So, if you've been searching for something sustainable, something that addresses circulation, nerve health, and inflammation all at once, stay with me for the next few minutes, because what I'm about to share isn't a quick fix, it's a system. And it works when you understand exactly how your body is changing and what it needs to rebuild. Your vitality, your confidence, your ability to show up fully. It all starts right here. The first remedy is the one I mentioned earlier, and it's become incredibly popular among men looking for natural circulation support: beetroot and nitrate-rich foods. Here's why this works. Beetroot is one of the richest natural sources of dietary nitrates. When you consume it, your body converts those nitrates into nitrites and then into nitric oxide, the exact molecule your body has been producing less of as you've aged. It's essentially giving your vascular system the raw material it needs to signal your blood vessels to relax and allow blood flow. Now, I need to be clear about something. This isn't a one-time fix. You can't have beetroot on Monday and expect miraculous results by Tuesday. What you're doing is supporting a biological pathway consistently over time. Your endothelial cells need regular signaling to adapt, to rebuild their responsiveness. Think of it like watering a garden. One watering session doesn't bring everything back to life, but consistent daily watering absolutely does. The men who get results with this are the ones who use it daily. A scoop of pure beetroot powder in their morning tea or a smoothie. Same time, same dose. Every single day for at least 3 to 4 weeks. That's when we start seeing measurable changes: better exercise recovery, improved morning firmness, warmer extremities, more consistent response. And here's what I love about this approach: it's not just helping in one specific area. You're improving circulation system-wide. Your heart benefits, your brain benefits, your muscles recover better, your overall energy improves. So even if the bedroom benefits take a few weeks to show up, you're going to notice other changes along the way that tell you something's working. But circulation alone isn't enough. Because if your nerves aren't signaling properly, if your body can't relax into the moment, improved blood flow won't translate into improved function. And that brings us to remedy number 2: magnesium, specifically for nerve signaling and relaxation. I cannot tell you how many times I've had a patient come back after adding magnesium to their routine and say, "I'm sleeping better, I'm less tense, and my response has improved." And those three things are connected. Magnesium supports the parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and digest mode, the state your body needs to be in for optimal function. It also helps relax smooth muscle tissue, including the tissue in your blood vessels. But here's the clinical observation that really matters: better sleep equals better next day response. It's that simple. When men improve their sleep quality, deeper sleep, fewer interruptions, waking more rested, their body's ability to respond the next day improves dramatically. And magnesium is one of the most effective tools for that. The key is using the right form. magnesium glycinate or magnesium taurate taken in the evening about an hour before bed. Not magnesium oxide, which most people don't absorb well and which can cause digestive upset. You want a form that's gentle, bioavailable, and supports both relaxation and overnight recovery. Start with 200 to 400 milligrams in the evening and give it at least 2 weeks. You'll likely notice the sleep improvement first. The functional improvements often follow within 3 to 4 weeks as your nervous system recalibrates. Now, the third remedy is something every doctor will tell you to do, but most men underestimate just how powerful it is: gentle daily movement. I'm not talking about intense workouts. I'm not asking you to spend an hour at the gym every day. What I'm talking about is 20 to 30 minutes of walking or light resistance movement most days of the week. Because here's what movement does: it naturally boosts nitric oxide production. It improves insulin sensitivity, which affects vascular health. It reduces inflammation, it supports cardiovascular function, and it creates a positive feedback loop where your body starts to feel more capable, which builds confidence, which reduces performance anxiety. The men who move daily, even if it's just a brisk walk around the neighborhood, report more consistent function than men who are sedentary, even if those sedentary men are taking all the right supplements. Movement matters. Circulation is use dependent. If you want your vascular system to stay responsive, you have to use it regularly. And here's my advice: don't make it complicated. Don't sign up for a program you'll quit in 2 weeks. Just commit to moving your body for 20 to 30 minutes most days. Walk. Do bodyweight exercises, stretch, swim, whatever feels sustainable for you. Consistency over intensity, always. Which brings us to the fourth remedy, and this is the one that ties everything together: anti-inflammatory daily habits. Because here's the truth: you can support nitric oxide, you can optimize magnesium, you can move every day, but if your baseline inflammation is still high, you're fighting an uphill battle. Inflammation sabotages every other remedy. It blocks the pathways you're trying to support. It creates resistance in your system that makes everything harder. So, what does anti inflammatory support look like? It's simpler than you think. Omega-3 fatty acids from fish or algae oil, at least 1 to 2 grams daily. Sleep regularity, going to bed and waking up at roughly the same time, because irregular sleep spikes inflammation. And reducing ultra-processed foods, especially the ones loaded with refined oils and added sugars, because those directly contribute to inflammatory load. I'm not asking you to eat perfectly. I'm asking you to fix your baseline, get your inflammation under control, and suddenly every other remedy you're using works better. Your circulation improves faster, your sleep deepens, your recovery accelerates. It's like clearing the static from the system so the signal can come through clearly. So now you have the four remedies: beetroot for circulation, magnesium for nerves and sleep, daily movement for vascular health and confidence, anti-inflammatory habits to reduce resistance in the system. These aren't complicated, they're not expensive, they're just consistent daily support that allows your body to rebuild what's been declining. But here's where most men go wrong, and I need to be very direct about this because these mistakes are what cause people to quit before they see results. Mistake number one: expecting immediate results. I understand the impulse. You start something new and you want reassurance that it's working. You want to feel a change right away. But biology doesn't operate on that timeline. Vascular tissue adapts over weeks, not hours. Your endothelial cells need time to respond to the increased nitrate intake. Your nervous system needs time to recalibrate with better magnesium levels and improved sleep. Your inflammation needs time to come down. What I ask my patients to do, and what I'm asking you to do, is commit to 30 days before you judge effectiveness. 30 days of consistent daily habits. And during that time, don't scrutinize every single day. Track weekly. Notice trends, not isolated moments. Are you sleeping better? Do you have more energy? Is your morning firmness improving gradually? Those are the signs that tell you the foundation is being rebuilt. Because here's what happens when men expect drug-like speed from natural remedies. They quit after a week. They think it's not working. They move on to the next thing, and they never give their body the time it actually needs to adapt and heal. So please, give this process the respect it deserves. You didn't lose your vascular responsiveness overnight. You're not going to rebuild it overnight either. But if you commit to the process, the results will come. And that brings me to mistake number 2, and this is surprisingly common: doing everything sporadically. I had a patient who came back after 6 weeks frustrated that nothing had changed. So I asked him to walk me through his routine. And what he described was chaos. Beetroot powder 3 times one week, once the next week, not at all the week after that. Magnesium most nights, but not consistently. Movement when he felt like it. No real pattern. And I said to him, "Your body doesn't know what you're asking it to do. You're giving it mixed signals." The moment he committed to the same habits at the same time every single day, his results stabilized. Within 3 weeks, he was noticing consistent improvements. Not because the remedies suddenly started working, because he finally gave his body the consistency it needed to respond. So here's the fix. Build your routine around habits you already have. If you drink tea every morning, that's when you add the beetroot powder. If you take other supplements in the evening, that's when you add magnesium. If you walk the dog every afternoon, extend that walk by 10 minutes. Anchor these new habits to existing routines, and they'll stick without requiring willpower. Now, let me show you what a realistic daily support routine actually looks like, because I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by this. But here's what most men don't realize. These remedies only work if you avoid 2 critical mistakes that sabotage results in the first 2 weeks. I've seen men quit right before their body was about to turn the corner, simply because no one told them what to expect or how long real biological rebuilding actually takes. So if you've been searching for something sustainable, something that addresses circulation, nerve health, and inflammation all at once, stay with me for the next few minutes. Because what I'm about to share isn't a quick fix, it's a system. And it works when you understand exactly how your body is changing and what it needs to rebuild. Your vitality, your confidence, your ability to show up fully, it all starts right here.